Welcome to our podcast, Doing It Right. This podcast reveals authentic stories from successful leaders doing it right. It's about their journey to become a leader, their choices, motivations, and lessons. In essence, how they built successful personal brands. Your host is Valerie Sokolowski, author of 8 leadership books and nationally known as an authority on executive presence and personal branding. Let's get started. Here's Valerie.
So this is a very interesting beginning of this season in Dallas, Texas. It's actually the 22nd annual restaurant week. And because I experienced the pizza extravaganza not so long ago, I went to a restaurant called Delucca. And I thought, I have to have the owners of this restaurant come on the show to kind of kick off the restaurant week because it's an experience. You go in to get pizza and there's a lot of pizzas. But when you go to this restaurant, as I did, and I've now been there 3 times and will continue to go, it's like the Starbucks part of experience coffee at Starbucks, and that's different than just coffee. Well, it's the same thing with pizza. And so the concept is so unique. I wanted to kick off this restaurant week with my guest, and I'll butcher his name. I know it. I will. It's Brazilian. Okay, let me try. Evandro.
That's so far so good.
Caregnato.
Not bad. Really good, actually.
Okay, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Valerie.
From Brazil, and now you're a Texan. And how long have you been in Dallas?
20 years.
How long?
20.
20?
Yeah, the accent always going to be here. There's nothing I can do about the accent.
I love the accent. Yeah. Speaking of the accent, you told me that some people don't know that it's from Brazil.
Yes.
What about that?
The accent?
Yes.
Yeah, I get everybody. Some people, they think I'm from Russia, from Ukraine. It's very complicated.
Russia?
Yes.
Now, why?
But once someone thought I had a British accent.
Way.
So no, you cannot from Russia accent to British accent. That's
something
the way
wrong
it
with
works.
their ears.
Yes.
I think that's so fascinating. And of course, you met our wonderful producer, Anna, who's from Portugal.
Hello, everyone.
So,
yes, we had a lot of good chat right before the show.
Okay, you two talk together for a minute.
Tudo bem, Ana? Como vai?
Tudo bem, obrigada, Evandro.
Ótimo.
Obrigada por ter vindo ao episódio.
Prazer.
Did you all get that? I surely didn't.
It's pleasant.
I think it's just great to have you on the show. And I want to have you explain, first of all, what makes Delucca unique.
And it's very unique.
It is.
Yeah, as Delucca is the only one, the first rodizio pizzeria in the country.
Now
There's
say that again,
like
the first what?
Rodizio.
Okay.
Rodizio means is endless parade. The same thing we have like with Brazilian steakhouses, that you have this endless parade of meats going around. You pay only one price. There is no menu. It's the same thing with the Delucca. Like the churrascarias, the Brazilian steakhouses, they're from my hometown, Rio Grande do Sul, South Brazil. And by the same region that they created the churrascarias, they came with the rodizio pizza. Someone had this great idea, hey, why not do the same thing? Like 50, 60 years ago, why not doing the same thing with the pizza? So you pay one price, there is no menu, and you can sample many, many different pizzas, handcrafted, gourmet, nice pizzas that come from the oven to your table.
But it's not, and yes, that's unique, but I have to share some of the other things that, now I love to cook, that's my passion. So I'm going to take it from somebody that's always looking at the recipes or trying to figure them out, which I'll never figure out yours. But that is one uniqueness. You've got how many different varieties now?
It changes with the season.
Okay.
Right now we're thinking about adding a few different ones, and sometimes like we have a pizza that's amazing, mascarpone and blackberries. But it's not easy to get like a nice blackberry, fresh blackberry all the time. So sometimes we have it, sometimes not. So it's kind of seasonal, because if it's not a good ingredient, we don't use. We have about 20 different pizzas.
20.
15 of them will be savory, and 5 of them will be dessert pizzas.
5, that's a winner right there. 5 that are dessert pizzas. So I brought my family in not so long ago, which is where I got this idea to have you on the show. And I was really paying attention to the unusual combinations. I want to read a couple of. Okay, so listen to this. Turkish lamb with onion sumac.
My favorite one.
Is it?
I love that.
I liked it too. Chicken tikka masala. Tikka?
It's Indian tikka masala.
Okay. 4 cheeses and truffle.
Very good one. I love that shit. Actually, I love all of them.
Well, of course you do. And actually, I did too. And then the desserts, the one I loved was the...
Dulce de leche, Nutella.
Yes, the
dulce de leche.
Yes, that was...
Yeah, that's very common in Argentina, in South Brazil. Like, actually, growing up, like dulce de leche, it used pretty much like peanut butter.
Really?
Like for breakfast, with bread, all the time. We do sandwiches with dulce de leche. And it's a very common ingredient for ice cream or cakes.
Yeah.
So we do a pizza with the dulce de leche and toasted coconut on top.
Oh,
it's
my
amazing.
gosh. Okay, I'm going to tell you one more food thing, and then I'm going to get into the story about you. The other thing is, though, I was impressed when I first sat down, just the ambiance of every waiter had this big grin on their face. And the first one, immediately when we sat down, I had this beautiful charcuterie board.
Charcuterie, yes.
That was set down, and then a cup of the most delicious.
Oh, the lobster bisque.
Oh my gosh, the lobster bisque before the pizzas ever started. And my host that took me there showed me this. So for those of you that can
bring the pizza.
Yeah. So
the green side and the red side.
Yes,
give me a break.
Keep it or never mind.
Give me a break.
But we never turned it over to the no thanks.
No,
We just
no reason to do that.
All right. So every restaurant has to have their differentiator. In the food itself, what do you do with your wisdom and knowledge about meats and cheeses and dough, and what makes you different?
I think, I think the look is amazing because you can sample so many different things, but we are not too much think about quantity. More is like quality. We could do, actually, in Brazil, there's some pizzerias operating the same system, same concept. They have about 50, 60 different pizzas, but they're not all that good.
No.
It's just because they think about quantity, like you're gonna impress someone. It's like many Brazilian steakhouses, they do the same. We have 15 cuts. Well, but we have 20. No, we're gonna do 25. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter. If they're bad cuts, bad quality meat, what's the point of having that much of quantity? So what we have is quality. We're talking about like the Turkish lamb. We use like ras el hanout from Morocco. Actually, it's not Turkish, but it's from Morocco. Sumac, the onions. It's really, really gourmet. You can't find just that pizza alone is already worth it the visit. And so it's we think a lot about the ingredients, what we're gonna be using for every single one of the pizzas.
And you mentioned the dough itself.
Yes, we use like the best flour we can get from Italy. We proof the dough for at least 36 hours. That makes a huge difference. And actually it's very healthy. It's much healthier than just a regular pizza. And it's so simple. There is nothing there. It's just the flour, water, salt, and yeast. That's it.
And what about making your own cheese?
Yeah,
I
we
think
spoke
that's
about that. That's something else. We just don't go out there and buy like processed cheese. We make the fresh mozzarella, the fior di latte, in-house.
My goodness.
Yeah.
So let's go back to your roots. And I titled this Brazilian Meets Italian the Gaucho Way.
Yeah.
What in the heck does gaucho mean, really?
Well, gaucho, so it's very complicated. Even I try to explain to my kids, like the history. So my wife her family is 100% German.
Oh, really?
Yeah, my family is 100% Italian. They came from Bassano di Grappa. We were born in Brazil. We moved here. I feel more American than anything else, than more than Brazilian or Italian. But gaucho is anyone that's born in South Brazil. They call themselves gauchos. So I'm a gaucho. My wife is a gaucha. But gaucho, in the sense, is like a cowboy from South America.
Okay.
You find in Argentina, Uruguay, and parts just on the south part of Brazil.
So you are a chef yourself.
I'm a chef, yeah.
I have to...
Self-taught, but I'm a chef, yeah.
Look at this book. This is really cool. I hope you're going to give this to me. Are you going to give this
Oh
to
yeah,
me?
I'll sign that for you, absolutely.
All right. I mean, this is I've never seen
Yeah,
any
so
cookbook like this.
no, there are a few other, but this I think is the most authentic book about a churrasco ever written.
And it's got history in it, I noticed.
Yeah, talks
right?
about the gaucho, talks about every single thing. So I worked for 20 years. I moved from Brazil to the United States to help a Brazilian steakhouse to open the first restaurant. I stayed with them for 20 years. And I left, actually it's exactly 2 years ago, I left to open Delucca. So my expertise, what I know a lot is about meat, but now I know a lot about pizza as well.
And you know a lot about Texas.
Yeah.
Is this, by the way, available to
Yes,
people?
you can find on Amazon.
On Amazon?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll hold it up one more time so you can see the name of it, should you also want it copied.
Yeah.
What about the name? Just how did you come
Yeah,
up
a
with
lot
the
of
name?
people, a lot of people they ask us what's the reason for that name. We had many other things like a little gaucho names or even a little Brazilian, but people butcher the name. We try showing like to our neighbors. Can you say this
Can
word?
you say this?
Yeah, like never we could get like a lot of different people being able to pronounce the name the way we want. And so when we got married many years ago, my wife and I went to a little town in Italy called Lucca. We had such a great time there. Even remember we joked, they were so young back then. They say, God, we're gonna name our son Lucca, Lucca, and we love the name. A few months later, say if one day we open a business, we're gonna call it Delucca, and we end up having a son. We name it Lucca, and we had a business, and we named Delucca. So because it was the name that most 98% of people they can read it, they say Delucca.
Yeah,
But
okay.
we still have a few people butchering the name, like
Oh.
Delucci. I say, where do you get Delucci? It's Delucca.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
There's always going to be one. So that begs the question of now that you're in your own business and have 4 locations, which is awesome.
Yeah, we have 2 locations now, and we are going to open the next one in a couple of months in Plano, and we have another one who works in Fort Worth.
Boy,
Yeah.
you're growing.
Yeah, still.
What's the funniest thing that's happened in the industry that you've experienced?
Well, there's so many things that we can't. The thing is, they're not politically correct to
You
say
can
here.
share.
We can't. But it just amazes me. Even at our place, Delucca, sometimes we have people. The server comes to the cooks and say, table 25, they're vegetarian. Don't take any pizza with meat there. That's completely fine. We have a bunch of pizzas that are like vegetarian. We have one that Hearts of Palm from Brazil. It's delicious. So we go there, vegetarian pizza. Suddenly they ask, where's the pizza with bacon? So, but you told vegetarian, yeah, but bacon is okay. So I don't understand how you're vegetarian, but bacon is fine. Bacon is apparently for some people is a vegetable.
For tonight anyway,
Yeah.
because they see all the wonderful ones with the
But it
meats on
happens
them.
much more often than you would think.
Is that right?
Yes.
That's
Vegetarian,
funny.
but they eat bacon.
That's
Nothing wrong with that.
No.
Bacon is great.
That's great.
Yeah.
What's the biggest challenge?
The staff, always. You know, because you are dealing with people. Some days in a very, very good mood, everything goes well. Sometimes they're not in a good mood. There's not much you can do about that.
Well, you wouldn't know it. And I have to say, first of all, you have such a great smile. And that's the other thing that I noticed, that you can teach people to be good servers, but you can't, it's harder to teach them to really care enough to have a warm, welcoming smile. So is that
But
just...
that's
how-
funny because when I have like the lineup with the staff, even
Yeah.
when we hire people, anyone, we say, listen, I don't care how much you know about wine. We sell a bunch of wine, by the way. Okay, but
And good prices, by the way.
good prices,
Yep.
great wines, excellent prices. But I don't care how much you know about wine. If you know that wine comes from that region, from that grape, from this side or that side of the mountain, nobody cares about that. You don't need to have that much of knowledge. It's just all I want. You go there and we smile. When you're saying I smile a lot, I usually don't do. I tell them do everything the opposite. What I do, you do different. You go there and we smile. That's it. It seems to work.
They
you know,
do.
like when you give them like one simple task, just be friendly, make them feel welcome, and smile. That's it.
And you know, you as a restaurant owner know that. And I, as a leadership coach and trainer, also can tell you that it's true psychologically that when we smile, it does something to the brain.
Yeah.
Try smiling and really being depressed at the same time. You really can't do it. So
Nope.
it boosts our own morale.
Yeah.
I think that's a great thing. All right, so what is a question that you wish people would ask you? Anything?
Again, I'm so proud of the way we do like the things. Like it's very, with like the lobster bisque. We use real lobster to make that. It's the quality again that we use. That many people they ask, but I would love to be answering questions to them. If they ask me about something, I would be talking to them for half an hour because you're really, really proud of the way we do every single thing. From the cheese that we make the cheese in house, from the way we proof the dough for many hours, very simple ingredients, the ingredients that we use. I think that's what makes the Delucca so special.
Well, and in the restaurant business, there aren't that many owners that still show up every day and walk around and say hello and all of that. Which brings
I met you there now a couple of days ago, huh?
That's right. So that brings me to the fact that the sense I got really was that this is a couple of entrepreneurs, you and your wife and your 2 kids. Let's include the kids who are how old?
He is 13, just turned 13, and she's gonna be turning 15
Okay.
in a couple of months.
So there's something about the values that you as the owners have to bring to the work that you do.
Yeah.
Just talk to us a little bit about where did those values
first,
come from?
Yeah, I'm kind of, honestly, I'm more like a back of the house guy.
Are
I
you?
go to the dining room all the time. I stay there, but I prefer to stay in the back of the house, in front of a grill or in front of the pizza oven. My wife is the one that loves to be in the dining room.
She's a
For
people
us,
person.
She has such a great personality to
Yep.
be dealing with people. And we just enjoy. I think if you are in the restaurant business, if you don't like to be around people, you are in the wrong business.
For sure.
Hospitality means a lot to the world.
Yeah. When you grew up, what was it like in your family?
Was like all the time like gauchos, like the churrasco tradition in South Brazil is huge. You have no idea. Even in the book we talk so much about that. Is because it's Italian, it's Brazil, but in South Brazil is a very strong Italian culture. So it's a lot of everything is around the table.
No
there is
wonder I
no
liked
such-
you. I'm Italian.
Yeah.
Okay.
There is not such a thing as you're gonna have dinner at 7, someone else gonna dinner at 8, and eating separately. No, everybody has to be on the table eating at the same time. Sundays, everyone you have no excuse to not be home and have like a big meal together. So food and family is always, and it's not just the close family. We have like cousins and uncles. You have everyone. Growing up, all the time we'd have 20, 30 people for lunch on Sundays. Yeah.
Is that hard to do now that you're
It's almost impossible. Even in Brazil, they don't do that anymore.
really?
Yeah, people start moving like to apartments.
Yeah.
They don't want any the kids messing with the carpet, with the walls. So that's something that is in the past, I believe.
Well,
It's not as
we
nice
need to
as
bring
used
it
to be.
back, don't
Absolutely.
you think?
That's so important.
My husband and I were in Spain last year, and the one thing that I noticed, at least with one particular family where we were invited to their home, they invited everyone,
Yeah.
and we sat around a table. I guess there must have been, I don't know, 10, and I was only there to meet the grandmother,
Yeah.
but she brought the whole family to meet me, and that gave me the sense of the importance of family. You think we're missing something with that today?
Yeah, absolutely. That's looking back was so nice having, and you have like grandma, grandpa, everyone together. What we have here for Thanksgiving, it's
Yeah.
pretty much is every Sunday. No excuse. And not only so everything was like a reason to celebrate something. Was first communion, baptism, any event, birthday, and during the week the same. It would be all the time getting together.
You learned
It's
how
the
to...
modern life. There's not much we can do.
Except we can be more intentional about it. At least Sundays, maybe. I don't know. I'll quit preaching on that.
That's something to work.
That's a good piece of
Evandro,
work.
I have a question.
I have a question, okay.
Regarding leadership. So, what is the one thing that you want your employees and the people that work with you to know? What is the one thing that you would like them to kind of like become or get inspired by?
I always tell them they have to be professional. That's the most important. I don't say there's so many important things, but they have to be professional. And what I tell them, imagine, because actually there are cameras everywhere, there are people everywhere. Every single movement, every single thing that you do, someone gonna be checking, gonna be looking what we are doing. So we have to be professional, and most important than that, what we spoke before, is the way you have to make every single guest feel welcome and that you are pleased to have them there. Mm-hmm. So that's pretty simple.
That's a good. Thank you for that. If there are people listening who are maybe even considering getting into the restaurant business in some way, shape, or form, what are maybe some of the lessons learned that you would share with them?
You need to have a lot of people skills. And not only with your customers, but with the staff. You have to be very, very, gentle sometimes. I have like a little passionate the way I talk, but I learned you have to calm down. You have to think twice before saying something. So I see a lot of people out there. They just go out of business because they cannot retain staff. They cannot keep good people because the way they deal with them. So staff is all. Without staff, you don't have anything.
So I'm laughing because years ago, the little movie that came out, the cartoon Ratatouille. I don't know if you ever
I watched that.
saw that.
It's a great one. I watched with the kids.
It was
I love
a great one, but oh my gosh, the chef in the back was horrible.
Yeah.
And everybody hated to be there, so that resonated.
But it's funny.
with
There
me.
was a time it was okay to do that. It's not anymore.
No, no.
I could explain a little some of the reasons, but it's not the right time.
So you have to have people skills. What else? What would you say to maybe beware of if you're going into the restaurant?
You're gonna have to work hard. The thing is, when you are working with someone, you know you have a schedule. Someone gonna be checking if you are there by 8 or 9 o'clock. So you have someone on top of you. When you have your own business, sometimes you can become a little lazy. Say, I can be 15 minutes late. Today I'm not going to work. When you start, you see you are not there anymore. You get too comfortable. So you always have to, even if you have your own business, you have to think that you have a boss and you have to be there on time. You have to lead by example. That's really, really
Lead
important.
by example.
I don't. There are many things you have to take in consideration. Things that you cannot do in front of the staff because you have to lead by example.
What a fascinating story. I think it's just so great that you were able to come here and do something this unique. Do you think there's anything like this anywhere else in the city?
No, not in the, as I say. As far as I know, I'm 100% sure there is nothing like Delucca in the country. Brazil, yes, because that is not like a lot of people, they think that we create that concept. No, this is a concept, existing concept in Brazil.
So if you opened the same concept in Brazil, it wouldn't be that unique? Is that what you're saying?
They already have that concept in many places there. And by the way, the first rodizio pizza, like operating the same style concept, was in my hometown.
Really?
I remember going there as a kid, and because there is a lot of similarities between the churrascarias and these like the Delucca, the rodizio, pizza rodizio. You pay one price, you can sample all the food, so it's very, very similar the way, because both concepts were created or in my hometown. Yeah.
Interesting.
So, but there is nothing like that in the States, and maybe a few places in the world, but everything else is in Brazil.
So it'll be interesting, and I have no doubt that you will make sure you are still keeping all the restaurants consistent. That's one of the things that obviously if I were in your shoes, I would be saying, okay, we're going to open 4 restaurants and then 6 restaurants. Aren't there statistics about how many restaurants you can grow this fast and know that you can still handle them?
Yeah, I'm not aware. Like the thing is, you're gonna need as we grow, we're gonna need like good people to be around us to help us. It's very hard to say how big you can grow, still maintaining consistency. That's a good problem to have. When we get there, we'll
I'll
think
come
about
back
it.
with that. You can tell me later.
Absolutely.
Well, you have been perfect to be on the show to kick off Restaurant Week, and I have to leave with telling the audience the dessert pizza, the one that I had last week that I loved, was pear.
Oh, with gorgonzola.
Yes.
Yes. Oh,
So try that one.
Any pizza you tell me, I love that. But I really love it. All of it.
All of it. Thank you for being the
welcome.
kickoff of Restaurant Week.
My pleasure. Thanks so much for having me.
You're welcome. All right. And for my listeners, I appreciate always the fact that you have helped make this show Apple's top 25 business podcasts, and that means a great deal. Thank you so much for that. And as always, I encourage you to subscribe, share, and rate the podcast so that we can stay in the top 25. Be authentic, keep your brand, and we'll see you next time. Bye for now.
Thanks for listening. To receive Valerie's voice, free monthly leadership tips, and to learn more about her leadership programs and coaching, visit her website, valerieandcompany.com. Next week, we'll be here again to inspire, engage, and equip you with teachable points of view from successful leaders who have been doing it right. Until then, lead authentically.